Hey guys, I hope you've enjoyed the first part of the video with Ryan and I talking about the Eagles and the Heisman and the Mets. So now we got the interview with Coach Stephen Peoples. I was really excited to have him on. He was a great guest. I can't wait to have him on again. But he's got a lot of knowledgeable stuff to say as a college coach, and he kind of gives his insight on the James Harden drama and situation. So I know you guys want to hear, a professional opinion about that. Oh, and after the interview, we'll Ryan and I will cover our national championship picks and our NFL playoff picks. Um, but I think you guys will love this interview. Ryan was not able to be on the call because he had something with his sister's birthday. So hopefully we'll get him on next time for the next guest. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the interview, and or I know you guys will enjoy the interview, so enjoy. So, Coach Steven, if you want to introduce yourself to the audience, just kind of, state, your job, where you're at, and just kind of your background a little bit.
All right, so my name is Coach Stephen Peoples. I'm one of the assistant coaches at Columbus State University here in Columbus, Georgia. I've been here for 3 years. I've been coaching basketball this is my 11th year, head coach for 8 years in high school down at Santa Rosa Christian School in Milton, Florida. I lived in the Pensacola area. And yeah, and so this is what I do. This is what I love, and I've been, loving basketball since I knew what a ball was. All right, but yeah.
Well, it's good to have you, Coach Steven. I know I'm excited to have you on, but the first question I got for you today is, what was the biggest effect COVID has had on your season? I know there's a lot of rules and regulations with the NCAA, but what was kind of the
Mhm.
biggest thing you had to change when you thought about coaching this year?
Biggest thing we had to change, I think, just how we do things with the guys. Just, usually you can just have practices at any time with any number of guys, and you go in whenever, and we didn't have that luxury this year. Now you can only have a certain number of guys in the gym. Now you can only come in at certain times, and that takes a toll. When guys want to get better, when guys want to work out, when they
Hmm.
want to, you have to tell them like, hey, we can't do it today, or we can't do it with this many. Some of you can't come. Split times up. Well, it's been a lot of it's been a lot of responsibility, just kind of making sure we follow the guidelines at NCAA. COVID
Hmm.
testing, there's been a lot of that. It's had its setbacks. We were supposed to play Georgia in December, didn't get a chance to do that. We, like, like we just talked about before we started, Augusta, we were supposed to play them, didn't happen
Hmm.
due to COVID. So it's had its effects. It really has on the program. But every day we just look to get better and prepare ourselves for our next opportunity, which, fingers crossed, is on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So how does coaching at Columbus State compare to, coaching in high school? So like what are the kind of the major differences with like, your approach to coaching when it comes to the college level versus the high school level?
Um, the biggest difference is preparation. Oddly enough, where I coached in high school, is kind of like I coached at a smaller Christian school, and you had a certain number of teams you played, and you knew those teams. You
Mhm.
knew kind of what they had, and so you prepared your team as opposed to preparing the other team, because you kind of knew what they were going to do. College is not like that. Everybody works hard to switch up what they do. And so you may know a personnel of a team, you may know that, oh, this is a rugged team or this is more of a freelance team, but you don't know what plays they're going to run. You don't know what what's coming. And so you
Mhm.
have to really scout and prepare, do your due diligence. And so yeah, the college game, I found, it's a lot more specific.
Mhm.
You can work on a player's jumper all day long, but do they know how to do a one dribble pull up? Do they know how to do
Right.
can they dribble? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot
Yeah,
more
yeah.
specific on the
Mhm.
college level. So yeah, that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like, I ran D3 cross country my freshman year, and it was such a big difference from even I know cross country is different, obviously, but
Hmm.
just in the practice time and preparation, I did not expect. I was like, oh man, it's a D3 school, it's not going to be that bad. I'm gonna just be able to coast it, but nah, it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't anything like that. It just kind of all hit me and since I didn't really train enough, it just kind of hit with injuries. So yeah, I totally get, the extra preparation in college and it's very important to the game because, otherwise you're just not going to be able to do as well and perform to the level you want to
Well,
be
well, and it's funny too because every level up presents new challenges. In high school, everybody's kind of in high school. I
at.
mean, the best in the high school play, but you may have one or two superstars and everybody else is kind of there in a sense. In college, everybody on that floor was the best at their high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then so it's like, okay, well now there's no, you got the best of the best 10 people on the floor. And it's like you got to step your game up. And as coaches, we had to step our game up because we have to realize that.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely presents its challenges. It does.
Gotcha. So, what are your goals for the team going into a season like this? Do you set a certain number you want for wins? Do you go for a division championship, or do you just kind of just go with the motions and do as best as you can with the situation you have?
I mean, the last thing you said is definitely true. Like we're doing the best we can, but at the same time, we hold a certain precedent for ourselves, a
Hmm.
certain goal for ourselves. We always want to win our conference. Always want to be conference champions. That's always the goal. And we feel like with that goal in mind, the number of wins will take care of themselves if we're focused on that. Every
Yeah.
night we're going to be the best team in the conference, and so if we do that we're gonna, like this year we got 11 games, 10 now, but you know,
Yeah.
we intend to be the best that we can at that time every night, and the end goal being the conference championship. And we had a high turnover this year. We lost 8 guys. We got 8 new players. We got new role players. The goal doesn't change. We want to be the best, and we want to walk out with a trophy and some nets around our neck.
Hmm. And like you said, so you have a new, kind of group of younger guys. Or you must be really excited to grow with that younger group, and hopefully they can kind of create chemistry together. So what's
Mhm.
just kind of like the recruitment kind of process, or just thinking when you're recruiting certain players? Do you try to match up certain players with other players that might have a good chemistry with each other, or their skills can be compatible. Is that what you kind of look for? Or do you just kind of go for like, the best all around players?
It's a style. It's all about style and fit. And we are an up and down the floor kind of team. We like athletic guys,
Hmm.
and that's what we look for. When we recruit. I mean, that's kind of what we're aiming for. As far as chemistry is very important, but at the same time, we feel like the culture we have here and the culture we've built here or building here is going to help the guys mesh together. We have a really great team this year. Guys who didn't necessarily know each other, but they're athletic guys. They can move the ball, run down the floor, make good plays offensively and defensively, and they gel together.
Right.
And so we're looking for guys that fit our style, and then we feel like our culture, once they get in here, is going to take care of the rest.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's good. So, what are your career goals? What is this all for? Is there a certain place you want to coach in the NBA, or you just want to be a head coach at college? Where's your kind of career path going?
I love the college game, always
Mhm.
have. So the goal, if I don't want to sound ungrateful. Columbus State, Coach Moore has given me an amazing opportunity to kind of begin my college career.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm a young coach, so
Right.
coaching Division one day is definitely the goal. But I heard a great quote that said you should treat everywhere you are like the job you want. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so to me, I'm at Duke right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I'm trying to make the very best of where I am right now. Now, as far as what the end specific goal is, I'll kind of be a little funny but a little true. I have a hat on right now for my what I call my D1 team. But if I could ever be a head coach at this school right here, I tell you what, be a wonderful day. Be a wonderful day. Love the University of Miami, huge fan. But that yeah, definitely Division 1 is the end goal. But I want to make my other end goal is that at the end of my career, I want to make a mark wherever it is I am,
Mhm.
and be able to, help whoever I'm with win. Here at Columbus State, I want to win. I want our name etched in stone, and then do
Right.
that elsewhere. So
Mhm.
that would be the goal.
Yeah, that's always a good mindset to have, just kind of, putting in the work at, no matter what level you're at. Because, obviously you're not going to get to that, D1 coach at Miami unless you do put in the work at, the lower levels. So I do like that
Exactly.
quote you were saying. But so, you host a podcast called the Millennial Basketball Coach Podcast. I haven't,
Hmm.
unfortunately, had a chance to take a listen yet, but what's kind of one piece of advice to give a young kid that wants to be in the NBA? I know it's hard to pick one thing, but which is kind of one, I guess, general thing you always tell your guys or young kids on your podcast.
For those who want to get to that level, I think it's important to realize that no journey is the same.
Hmm.
And so you can say, I want to play in the NBA. Okay, what does that mean? And I think a lot of kids get derailed because they didn't have the, Zion Williamson path of I was the best in the country and I only had to play 1 year and everybody knew who I was and saw who I was and boom, I'm in the league after 1 year. Not everybody gets that.
Right.
And so I think there's a revolution in a way going on around college hoops where you're starting to see better talent at lower levels. So you got Division 1, great talent up there. But people are starting to see too, with the rules changing as well, that hey, there's some really good guys in Division 2.
Hmm.
There's some really good guys in NAIA Division 3 in junior colleges. I think what's his name, Duncan Robinson with the Heat, Division 3 player,
Right. Yeah.
ends up transferring to D1, and now he's with the Heat playing for championships.
Yeah, that's
And
pretty cool.
so my biggest advice to kids, especially now in this climate, is hey, you know, you work on your game, and every night you go out there and show what you can do. And just because North Carolina or Kansas doesn't come calling right away isn't the end of the world. Another thing too is that and I love the NBA. I'm not going to deter from them, but there's more than one way to be a pro.
Hmm.
So you may not play in the NBA, but you may get an offer for a contract in Spain or in, you know, Macedonia. We got one kid that played for us, Jose Horton, and he's playing overseas right now, and he's going out there scoring 20 plus points. We got another kid who just got an offer that played for us who has an offer to play in Spain. So, I mean, there's more than one way to play professionally. The NBA doesn't have to be the say all end all.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, and that's a good point. And NBA teams, I feel like are kind of shifting more to looking into foreign teams more because, honestly,
Hmm.
like even if you look at the top 10 guys in the draft, there were probably like three or four international guys that went top 10. So, it's a changing game. And I do, I love those comments. And it's kind of a new move because I know Jalen Green went to the G League instead of going to,
Yeah, to
D1.
college.
So, there's always that
Yeah.
too. So it's kind of cool just to see where the new top recruits are going. But I like the advice you gave. But more of a NBA question. I guess this is kind of the main
Okay.
headline in the NBA right now. But James Harden wants out of Houston. And so, as a
Hmm.
coach, would you trade for a guy like James Harden? I know that might be a dumb question because he's James Harden and he puts up 35 a game, but
Right.
because he's known for having, the toxic environment a little bit, with
Hmm.
his, um,
let's just say extracurricular activities, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, kind of because he kind of batted heads with Westbrook. So is it worth trading for a guy like James Harden with knowing what you have to give up and, what you're going to have to deal with, outside of basketball? Is it worth trading for him, or does it really just depend on the team?
I think, well, to that last point, I think it depends on the team. And considering what he's been saying about where he wants to go, he wants to go to a top tier team. And I think you have to look at what's around you. So, you know, I'm just going to be specific, this will never happen.
Hmm.
But the Lakers, I think Harden would fit with the Lakers because he would have to change who he is
Right.
to win. Because you're not taking shots out of LeBron's hand. You're not taking shots out of Anthony Davis's hand. And he would fit the mold. If he goes to again, facetious the other way, New York Knicks, is that helping your team? Because he's just going to take all the shots.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it's a fit. I think you have to understand as a coach what's around you and what you can put up with. Now, the NBA kind of gets a bad rap a little bit because the superstars kind of run the league in a
Hmm.
way. If they're not happy, the coach probably isn't there
Right.
any much longer. And so you have to know as a GM, like, okay, we talk about as a coach, would you trade for him if he can work with the players? But as a GM, you have to think about, can he work with the coach? Mike D'Antoni at Houston changed his whole system to fit James Harden. You might have to go to a place that does that. You might
Right.
have to, or somebody's gonna have to change. And I think that's a conversation that, if I was a coach, I'd be like, look, like, it's a conversation we have to talk about to make sure if this is going to work or not. You either are going to change who you are a little bit, be more of a team guy, or I'm going to change who I am and change my system to fit you. One or the other. Something's got to
Right.
happen. We can't have all these egos and expect for it to work. As far as the extracurricular activities, I tell you, I think if Harden committed to being a team guy, I don't think the extracurriculars would matter. And I think my
Mhm.
favorite example of that is the Chicago Bulls and Dennis Rodman.
Yeah,
You know,
I was gonna bring that up
yeah,
if you weren't.
yeah, like Phil Jackson basically told Dennis, as long as you're at practice and as long as you're grabbing rebounds on that
Mhm.
floor, I don't care what happens.
Right.
And that's kind of, I think that's what you kind of would have to do in this aspect as well.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And it's tough because James Harden is still putting up the same numbers. It's not like he's slacking or anything.
Hmm.
I guess really the
Hmm.
only difference is he's kind of getting a beer belly, but he's still dropping like 40 on people. So it's still
Hey, if you're weighing 300 pounds and you can drop 40 in the NBA, I'm not saying nothing to
yeah,
you.
you
Give him
can
the
do
ball.
whatever. um, But honestly, like I feel like a top tier team isn't going to trade for Harden just because, like you said, they're probably going to have to change their system for him, and especially because he wanted to go to a team like the Nets.
Hmm.
They're off to a slow start with KD being in quarantine and them
Hmm.
not playing as well. But they will be a top three seed in the East, and I don't see them changing their whole system just to fit James Harden. When they already have two
No.
superstars that could take down LeBron. I hope they don't because I always have a thing against KD, but um, we'll see. But so
Right.
coach, I wanted to ask, what's your favorite NBA team? I wasn't sure since you coached in Florida and now you're in Georgia. So what's your hometown team?
Well, I tell you what, if you check out my Instagram, Coach S Peoples, you will see constant references to the Portland Trailblazers, and so they are my team.
Okay.
I've been a fan of them since I was probably a teenager. The only thing I was a fan of NBA wise before that was Michael Jordan, and
Hmm.
so huge Blazers fan, huge Dame Lillard fan, and I just like the way he plays ball, I like the way CJ McCollum plays ball.
Hmm.
I guess I'm a sucker for heartbreak because Portland's put me through a lot of heartbreak since
Yeah,
I was a teenager. But yeah, so they're my team, and it was funny because I actually I run a contest, and it's just where I post a game. It's my game of the day, and people pick who they think are going to win on my Instagram. And I had the Lakers against the Trailblazers the other night, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm just putting a game of the day, and I
Right.
look on there and like 94% of people have picked the Lakers. And I was like, what? What are you guys on? LeBron doesn't play in the regular season. What are we talking
That's
about?
true.
It's so, I was messing with all my followers and be like, oh, you guys are gonna lose. And sure enough, the Blazers went in there and won, and I got to brag. It was nice. And then I had some people in my DMs after the game was like, hey, enjoy this, because come playoff time, we taking y'all down again. I was like, I know.
It was funny actually because so I started this thing called Upset of the Week where I like call one game of the next week for an upset, and that was actually the first game that I called was the Trailblazers beating the Lakers, and then they
Smart
upset them
pick.
that game.
Smart
I
pick.
honestly I only called the Trailblazers because LeBron was questionable for that game, and I was like, oh, the
Yeah.
Blazers got it easy without LeBron, but then they ended up beating them with LeBron, so I was like,
With
okay, I
LeBron
was like,
playing.
touche, but. Um, so, as a Blazers fan, what do you think they need to do to kind of put themselves in the championship tier? Because, they're always around that seventh, eighth seed in the West because, it's always hard to compete in the West. But, what do you think the Blazers need to do to, be up there with the Lakers?
I mean, get James Harden. Uh,
Would you trade CJ
no,
McCollum for him?
I wouldn't. I agreed with Portland on that. But to broaden that point, I think they need one more guy. I think they need one more guy to get the pressure off Dame. I think, and this is way far fetched, but a Giannis, with him still being up in the air. If the Sixers break down, you can get an
It
Embiid,
could
like somebody
happen.
that's gonna,
Mhm.
right, like somebody that's gonna take a lot of pressure off of Dame and is going to put more pressure on their team. I mean, LeBron's got AD. He's got a lot of good role players. The Blazers have a lot of great role players, but you know, it's proven Dame and CJ just aren't going to come out of the West on their own. It's
Right.
going to take one more guy,
Yeah,
and I think that's
yeah. They just have, too much it's just too much competition. Like it's hard for, two guard when, you have your two best players being guards facing a team, like the Lakers with LeBron and AD where, they can just destroy you offensively with those guys.
well,
But
that's
you
the thing.
never
You have
know,
no one
like
to guard him.
yeah, it's true. But like, you never know. Paul George and I know he just signed an extension, but I think Kawhi is set
Mm-hmm.
to be a free agent here soon. So if you guys picked him up, you'd definitely be, probably the favorites, honestly, in the West. I would think if you got Kawhi.
I think that's what scares me about my theory, though. I think they're going to make us give up too much to get a guy like that. You know what I mean? I think they're going to
Yeah,
say, okay, cool, but we're getting CJ, and a first round for the next 8 years. But it's just I think it's tough. But if we could pull off a Kawhi Leonard, I think that would help. That would help greatly. Like you said, we probably need to be the favorites, or it's us and the Lakers.
right. Yeah. So just final question. I know you like playing 2K. I saw you play, or a couple videos on Instagram. Is the Trailblazers your favorite team to play on 2K, or you like to? Because I know you got to win with different tiers, or at least on the
Yeah,
online head-to-head you do. So are
yeah.
the Trailblazers your favorite team to play with on 2K, or
I tell you what, they are, or at least they were. And what
okay?
I mean by that is 2K20, 2K, especially 2K20, we had Dame, CJ, we had Son Whiteside. Oh, just beautiful for 2K because Dame's got basically limitless range on him, limitless range badge on him. I can pull up from anywhere. And if he misses, I got a near 7 footer just standing there. They can just grab rebounds and put it back. CJ the same. So I love running with the Blazers. 2K21. It's tough. It's tough. I've played a few games with the Blazers, and I've come out really sad. But but I think for me in 2K21, I'm gonna say the Nets. I'm gonna say the Nets.
Okay, yeah,
I like
I
playing with
feel
them.
that. KD basically, can score anywhere, and
Exactly.
Kyrie's a great 3-point shooter. So I totally get that. I'm a Sixers guy myself. I'm a Sixers fan, so I love playing as the Sixers because just it's nice that we actually got shooters now, so that I can just drive with Ben Simmons and then just kick it out to Seth Curry or
Mhm.
whoever.
See,
But
I think that's the problem with me in playing 2K now. Like when I was younger, I'd play 2K. I was a run and gun guy, everything like
mhm.
that. Now I'm a little too X's and O's. I coach too much. Now I'm playing 2K. Like okay, I'm gonna set a side ball screen and come off it. If he rolls, I'm gonna hit. Like I think too
Yeah,
much in 2K sometimes. But I tell you what, I love besides the online head to head, I love playing my team, and
oh
I'll
yeah,
do it
my team's always
sometimes.
fun.
Oh yeah, and I'll do it sometimes on Twitch. I'll jump on there and play my team and just kind of build my squad and so I was actually able to get a pink diamond Iverson the other night. So I was
Ooh, okay, okay, that's
right. So
very nice.
I was pretty happy about that. But yeah, so I love doing that though. Love doing that.
Yeah, usually I play my team until like everybody's got Galaxy Opal lineups, and it's just at that point if you don't have at least one, then you got no shot. So
Right,
then after that I just keep playing online or play League or whatever. But those
right,
are all the
right.
questions I got for you, Coach. Thank you again for joining the show today, and I'd love to have you on again and talk some more basketball.
Hey, Dylan, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. And like I said, we definitely will do this again. This has been great.
Yes, for sure. I appreciate that, man. Good luck this year, and have a good night.
You too. You too. All right.